Have you seen the fountain at Lake Eola? It's huge! Check out this lady's head. It's huge! Lake Eola swan boats are incredible. They're huge! Did you know there's almost a mile of walkway around Lake Eola? It's huge! Have you seen the feet on this guy? They're huge! Did you know that a swan's bill is larger than a duck's bill? That's huge! Have you seen the trees at Lake Eola? They're huge! Lake Eola bandshell, it's huge!
Visit Lake Eola. It's huge!
Have you seen the head on this guy? It's little. It's not really that big.
Let's see. What? Oh no! Flushable wipes! Trash it! Don't splash it!
Afternoon and welcome to the October 8th, 2018 regularly scheduled meeting of the Orlando City Council. I would say this is a capacity crowd. I don't know how many we seat since we have renovated council chambers, but just about every seat is full. And if anybody's looking for some, I see 2 or 3 over here. We're going to begin today's proceedings with the invocation today offered by Sonia Scarpetta, who was born in Palmyra, Colombia. She's married to Diego Montano and has 3 children and 3 children, 1 grandchild. Sonia and her family moved to the U.S. in 1999. She currently resides in Orlando, where she graduated magna cum laude from Ana G. Mendez with a criminal justice degree. She's written 3 books and became a co-founder of a group called 8 Quorum 8, which relates to constitutional studies where she fights for civil rights. She's an active member of Nuevo Sendero, where she advocates for victims of domestic violence and educates families and students on the importance of safe relationships. She believes in the Hispanic community and continues to advocate for their success. After the, she's going to give the invocation in Spanish, and then Luis will provide the translation in English, and then we'll be led in the Pledge of Allegiance today by Commissioner Hill.
Muy buenas tardes para todos, señor alcalde, Body Dyer, comisionados, miembros respetados de la comunidad de Orlando. Nos encontramos aquí reunidos para celebrar un día más del City Council y hoy iniciar el Día de la Hispanidad. Queremos darle gracias al Señor por un día más. Estamos aquí reunidos para darle la gloria y la honra a Dios nuestro Señor, por lo hermoso que eres con nosotros. Infinitas gracias por tu bondad y misericordia. Hoy queremos pedirte que seas tú quien guíe y dirija nuestras vidas. Como comunidad hispana en Orlando, te pedimos que nos guardes, nos protejas y nos ayudes a ser testimonios de amor, de paz, ejemplo de vida para nuestras familias y amistades. Que en nuestra vida reinen tus valores y enseñanzas, que estemos unidos como comunidad en pro del desarrollo de nuestra cultura y de esta hermosa ciudad de Orlando que nos ha acogido y abierto puertas. Nos entregamos a ti y quedamos en tu presencia. Damos gracias. Amén.
We are gathering here to give glory and honor to our Lord, for how wonderful you are with us. Infinite thanks for your kindness and mercy. Today, we ask you to lead and guide our lives. Our Orlando community asks you to protect and help us live by example, by demonstrating love and peace to our families and friends. We ask that your values and teachings reign in our lives. Additionally, we ask that our community remains united for the benefit of our multicultural community and the beautiful city of Orlando that has opened many doors for us. We surrender to you and we remain in your presence. We give thanks. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, let's call the meeting to order. Madam Clerk, would you call the roll and make a determination of a quorum, please?
Commissioner Gray.
Here.
Commissioner Ortiz.
Here.
Commissioner Stewart.
Here.
Commissioner Sheehan.
Here.
Commissioner Hill.
Here.
Commissioner Ings.
Here.
Mayor Dyer.
Here.
Mayor, we have a quorum with all members present.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. First order of business is the consideration of minutes from the
So moved.
Second. Workshop, agenda review, and city council meetings, and the 501 second budget hearing on September 17th, 2018. Motion by Commissioner Hill, second by Commissioner Sheehan. All in favor of the motion indicate so by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed, motion carries. All right, let's go right into awards, presentations, and recognitions. Chief, where are you? Let's talk about some Fido bags.
Good afternoon, everyone. Mayor, Council. A week ago, I had an opportunity to visit Broadway United Methodist Church And we have one of our explorers, Devin Weber. Stand up, Devin, for me. Devin actually was on a fire call we had in July 13th, where we had to render aid to some animal. So normally when we render aid to pets or dogs, we use human interventions like our non-rebreather mask. So Devin saw that, and again, we saved the dog. But he went back to his church, United Methodist Church, Broadway Methodist Church, and under Pastor Wallace, they came together as a church and they donated 17 Fido bags where you can actually, when we come on the scene where animals are being rescued, we can actually use the proper devices to give oxygen and form of treatment to the animals. So I just, on behalf of the Orlando Fire Department and the city of Orlando as a whole, we want to recognize Devin Weber for his effort, as well as Val Mobley and Pastor Rodney and his congregation that came here today. Just thank him for what they did, and because of them, we are able to render aid to our household pets, which are a part of our family. So just want to give a special recognition to them. And on that same day, Commissioner Sheehan, she was very instrumental. She was there as well to meet and greet and help us out as well. So thank you.
Sammy is very happy about the Fido bags being available, just in case. All right, I'm going to have Byron come up and introduce the 2018 Mayor's Employee Awards. Leadership.
Thank you, Mayor Dyer, and good afternoon, commissioners and distinguished guests. It is indeed my pleasure to introduce this item, the Mayor's Leadership Award, because we have such a remarkable group of honorees this year. And then as we introduce the honorees this year, I will call on my colleagues who will present them to each individual and be followed by pictures. Leadership is a choice, not a position, and that's from Stephen Covey. And with this quote in mind, the Mayor's Leadership Award was created to acknowledge and recognize our members of leadership who possess the ability to be an excellent role model, inspire others to work collaboratively and creatively, demonstrate initiative, and promote a work environment that is respectful and collegial while supporting and demonstrating city pride. We have 4 exceptional city team members who we have the honor of presenting to you this day and recognizing their work. Anna Cruz, our OLA coordinator. Michelle Brennan, Communications and Neighborhood Relations Director. Lisa Henry, Streets and Stormwater Division Manager. And Rosa Harvari, our Chief Information Officer. call on my colleagues to present each of them, and they'll present in the following order. First, there'll be Frank Billingsley to introduce Anna Cruz, then Kevin Edmonds to introduce Lisa Henry, then Christopher McCullen to introduce Rosa, followed by Frank to present Michelle Brennan. Right?
Thank you, Byron. Good afternoon, Mayor and Commissioners. It was so nice just now because when we were applauding these 4 outstanding co-workers, employees here at the city, everybody in this room was smiling, and it was really a good feeling and nice to see that. It's my privilege today to recognize and honor, along with everyone here in the room today, Anna Cruz, the coordinator for the City of Orlando's Hispanic Office of Local Assistance. Anna has had a very busy year over the last year, busier than just about any other year. But a little background on Anna. Anna was born in Caguas, Puerto Rico, and she graduated from the University of Puerto Rico, Rio Piedras campus with a bachelor's degree in secretarial sciences. Anna moved to New Brunswick, New Jersey in 1989, and she worked for the New Brunswick Adult Learning Center from 1989 until 1990 as a teacher's assistant. In June of 1990, and for the next 18 years, she worked for Inroads, Inc. In New Jersey, and she was later transferred to Orlando to work for Inroads, Inc. Inroads is a nonprofit organization whose mission is to develop and place talented minority youth in businesses and industry and prepare them for corporate and community leadership, just what we do here at the city. She worked for Inroads in many different capacities, and she started out as an administrative assistant, and by the time she finished with them, she was the acting regional director. Now, Commissioner Ortiz, I want to thank you because in 2008, she accepted the position of aide to District 2 City Commissioner Tony Ortiz. Really a good decision there. And in June 2016, she was hired as the new City of Orlando Hispanic Office of Local Assistance Coordinator. Anna led the OLA efforts over the last year, assisting the many evacuees that we hosted here in our community as an aftermath to Hurricane Maria. Over 6,000 displaced citizens from Puerto Rico were assisted by the OLA office. Anna and her team were able to position the OLA office as the center for information, not only for the evacuees, but also for the media. It seemed like at a time, for a while, Anna was living at the airport, at the center that was set up there to help evacuees. And all of us have gone to visit her in the OLA office, but Anna took the extra steps of soliciting suits for people that needed interviews, food for people that needed to eat, and the list just goes on and on and on. Anna has been serving her community for many years. Giving back to the community and helping others are some of Anna's main goals in life. Over the last year or so, Anna has received a whole lot of awards and recognitions, including the Casa de Venezuela Award for Community Involvement, the 2018 Florida Puerto Rican Day Parade honoree, WKMG Channel 6 Getting Results Monthly Award recipient, Casa de Puerto Rico, the Coqui Award recipient for community involvement, and for many years, she's received volunteer awards from the National Latino Peace Officers Association of Central Florida. As you know, Anna has had a tremendous impact on all of us here in this room today, with the Hispanic community and with all of our citizens here in the city of Orlando. Anna, please join us here at the podium. I think your daughter is here, I know. Do you have other friends and family here? Okay, all right. Okay.
Frank Billingsley. Frank, I want to say something.
You have to ask the
before
mayor.
You give it out. That's the part that nobody knows about Anna. You talk about the things that she does while she's working, but nobody talks about the things that she does when she's not working, which is helping the community even more. She volunteers her time to help the community in so many ways, and she gives so much of herself. And she was never, ever late for work. She has always, even while working, she has volunteered with other associations or whatnot around the city to help them out of her own time. And the thing I'm the most proud of is the way she has raised her daughter. She's been a single mom, and she has done a great job. So I just wanted to add that to the difference in the system.
If I may add something as well, what a lot of people don't realize, and this mic is not working, here we go. What a lot of people don't realize and what was not mentioned was the fact that Anna was with us during the Pulse massacre and helped translate. Because there are a lot of people who did not know how to speak English, and Anna was there to help them through the most difficult hours of their lives. And Anna, I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart for everything that you did to help me and to help others. And there was times you had to translate for me, and it was amazing what you did. And you didn't have to, but you did, and it gave of your heart so much during that time, so thank you.
And I just want to interject also, Mayor, and I want to thank you personally, Anna, all my events you're there. So you don't just work in the Hispanic community, you work in all communities and help all people, and I really appreciate you for that.
Good afternoon, Mayor Dyer, City Council. I am here to talk a little bit about Lisa Henry, and I'm going to ask Lisa to come up and join me, mainly because she will hate it. And another reason is because, you know, Lisa works in one of our operational units, and a lot of times folks don't get to know what these folks look like. She's joined here today, her wonderful husband David, a bunch of her crews here. So I just want to take a moment for Lisa to get some visuals so folks know who they are. So when that pothole gets repaired in under 24 hours, you know who's driving the bus there to take care of that. Lisa was hired by the city in the Capital Improvements Infrastructure Division, which is now Project Management, in October of 2008. In 2011, Mayor Dyer appointed her as a division manager of streets and stormwater services. During that time, she has taken on and delivered on several high-profile projects that are essential for our community. They range from Sea Art Orlando, the recently completed Westmoreland Bike Trail and Sidewalk Enhancement, which was a major investment for school-age kids and residents in the Paramore neighborhood attending the new ACE school. She's actively involved in Keep Orlando Beautiful and recently participated in the International Coastal Cleanup at Lake Fran. Lisa regularly hosts an all-hands division meeting for her entire streets and stormwater division. And that's when everybody comes into that group. I've been there in the mornings. You know, she takes care of a lot of business there, and those guys are there, and the moment they're done, they are out in the field. They're doing their job. But Lisa really takes an opportunity because she's a big believer in the old adage of praise in public, counsel in private. She uses these assemblies to publicly recognize the positive contributions of her employees. When the Workplace Giving Campaign started recognizing department participation as well as the monetary contributions, she urged her employees by promising and hosting a barbecue celebration for them upon achieving their particular goals for their divisions. She paid for this out of her own pocket. She promotes and shares information on a wide variety of programs such as workplace giving, employee benefits, wellness opportunities, training, earned income tax credit filing so employees don't miss any of the refund opportunities on their taxes. She and I were just speaking this morning, and she was so excited because apparently she had ICMA, and she's grinning on this because she's very happy about it. She had ICMA, which is our retirement program, come over and talk to her division. And she, through that presentation, she says, I did nothing but have them over there. She has seen a great surge in the number of employees who are now contributing to ICMA through the 401, but also through the 457 program. And these are employees who are going to look up 25 years from now and will have a significant savings that will enhance their retirement programs. Lisa was also the first division manager in 2016 to pilot and embrace the city's partnership with Goodwill Industries on the Good Source program, staffing services and work program. Good Source was designed to be a critical link in connecting homeless persons with that first job as a critical step towards independence. And I remember when I first brought this up to Lisa, Sometimes you anticipate, you really don't know how folks will impact, but when she heard about this program, what it was doing, that this would be a great potential step for folks who were in need, who were homeless or had been homeless, she immediately embraced it. She jumped on it. She was like, how many can I have? And can I do this? And, she was very excited about that program. She and her team actually got to the point after about 5 or 6 months where they were trying to work with the participants, one particular one, to try to help them buy a home. So, she really puts her heart into this job, whether it's potholes, whether it's working with the folks that work for her, whether trying to do benefit there, whether it's workplace giving. She is always there. She's earned the support of her employees, which could be witnessed the way they cheered her on at the most recent fitness events. She has this demeanor as being very tough and going to push it through, but she's a softie inside. She cares about the people that she works for. She cares about the people that she works with, and she cares about the citizens. She was the one that was calling me on a weekly basis when we were trying to get the path ready in Paramore. Kevin, I've only got until this date. I've only got until this time. I've got to do this. And I'm like, Lisa, we'll get it. But no, you don't understand. It has to be ready for those kids. So, that's the type of passion that she really brings to what she does. So I know her wonderful husband, David, is here today. So with that, I present to you Lisa Henry. And David, we're going to drag you up too. I know you're going to kill me for that.
Good afternoon, Mayor, Commissioners. Today I have the privilege of introducing Rosa Octacarvery, recipient of the 2018 Mayor's Leadership Award. I'm going to embarrass Rosa by asking her to stand up with me also. Come on. Rosa has served the city for over 26 years. She's the city's Chief Information Officer, and in that role she leads the Information Technology Department, which is responsible for everything from simple password resets to addressing incredibly complex challenges like protecting the city from cyber attacks and planning and implementing highly complex IT solutions like the city's new 911 computer-aided dispatch system. Almost everything we do in city government relies on technology at some point. And being CIO and keeping all of that technology going is a big job, but Rosa is one of the best at it. Of course, Rosa doesn't do all of this alone. She has a great team of talented and dedicated IT professionals that work hard every day for the city and for our residents. But Rosa is the leader of that team, and she sets the vision and expectations, and that's a responsibility that she takes very seriously. Rosa is the epitome of a great leader. She leads by example. Rosa shows dedication and commitment to the city every day, and she's guided by her strong commitment to honesty, integrity, and personal and professional excellence. And she instills those same qualities in her team. As all good leaders do, Rosa makes sure her team have the resources they need to do their jobs, and she encourages them to develop their knowledge and skills so that they can be successful in their city careers. She challenges them to be creative and innovative, to work hard and to provide great customer service. And she does this with patience, humility, and a sincere desire to see her team succeed and to reach their full potential. And that's what makes Rosa a true servant leader. She's also a true public servant. I saw this firsthand during the city's response to the Pulse nightclub attack. When the city activated the Emergency Operations Center on the morning of June 12th, Rosa was one of the first ones there, working hard to create solutions to the numerous technological challenges that we were faced with. To me, this was typical Rosa, because it showed how she never hesitates to jump in to help get the job done, because she leads by example. Rosa worked many long days at the EOC, but she will tell you that it was an honor for her to be able to do that, because Rosa exemplifies the city's commitment to public service. There isn't enough time for me today to say all the great things I want to say about Rosa, but I'll tell you there is no one more deserving of the Mayor's Leadership Award than Rosa. I couldn't be more proud of Rosa, and I am incredibly fortunate to have her on my team. So thank you, Rosa, and congratulations.
Too many people.
Mayor and Commissioners, it's my honor to be back here to recognize Michelle Brennan, our Communications and Neighborhood Relations Director. And unlike a lot of people, Michelle is really eager to jump up now, continue the tradition that Kevin started, so join me. And don't act like you're embarrassed either, okay? Because we all know you, all right? Okay, it's my privilege to present to you one of our directors that, as I said, doesn't really need an introduction because we all work very closely with Michelle. Michelle has been with the city for 16 years plus now and 12 years as an appointed official. As the city's Director of Communications and Neighborhood Relations, she is worthy of this award because she easily exemplifies the criteria of the Mayor's Leadership Award. Michelle is a highly innovative leader. She inspires her team. She inspires me for sure. Resources and resolving challenges that impact the quality of life in our city. She understands the day-to-day importance of staying up to date with the latest technology and platforms to ensure that the city communicates effectively internally and externally to the world. Over the last couple of years, Michelle has handled projects that have had a tremendous impact on our city, such as leading our city's rebranding efforts by updating our iconic Lake Eola fountain logo and creating, I have that on too today, okay? And creating guidelines on how and when to use our logo and our city seal. Michelle also managed the process of designing and adopting our new beautiful Orlando City flag, and she was one of the champions in planning and fundraising and the construction of the Tinker Field History Plaza. Given her leadership style, vision, dedication, and work ethic, she is a role model for her team and for all of her colleagues. She likes to have fun in her office too. It says in addition to the fun, but her staff is here. One time I went to Michelle's office and I said, y'all are having too much fun down here. But then she explained to me that that's part of the productive process in her office. Okay. So in addition to the fun and energy she provides, I know we can all attest to her professionalism, fairness, and trust. Michelle, you have had a very positive impact on all of us here today and our community and our city. I know you have, I think your daughters are here, right? Husband. And husband. Mitch, say hello. Daughters, raise your hand. Okay, they're here to celebrate Michelle's recognition. So Mayor, cities, and commissioners, please let's thank Michelle Brennan for her leadership and dedication to our city.
The mayor don't bite. Somebody can stand on the side of him.
You know, I think that's the most fun thing we've done this whole year is honor our employees who provide such great leadership, and I will take note that all 4 of the leadership awards went to females this year. How about that? Okay, we're going to go into Mayor's update. And when we were at agenda review, I met a number of students who are in attendance today. So if you are a student here with us today, would you stand and be recognized? They leave? Oh, there they go. Can tell the new semester is on us that we have students again. Okay, October is also Breast Cancer Awareness Month, so you'll be seeing a lot of pink around our community. Prevention and early detection are key to fighting the fight against breast cancer. We partnered with Florida Hospital and the UF Health Cancer Center at Orlando Health to help raise awareness, and 1 in every 8 women will experience breast cancer during their lifetime. The last couple weeks we've unveiled a pink swan boat at Lake Eola. There are 8 total swan boats and 1 pink one, so that's your example of 1 in 8. I would encourage you to go over and maybe take a picture and share it on social media, and then you'll also be seeing Chief Pink fire vehicles around the city. We have a police cruiser that's pink as well, so both fire and police will be showing their pink. Next, well, this coming Saturday, October 13th, is Come Out with Pride. It's a 1-mile walk around Lake Eola. We anticipate having about 140,000 people visit our downtown. There are other festivities this week, including a 5K, a brunch, a block party, film screening. So I hope that you'll join us out there on Saturday afternoon. And I'm also proud to announce that for the 5th year in a row, the City of Orlando has received the highest score of 100 in the 2018 Municipal Equality Index, validating our commitment to an inclusive government that promotes diversity and benefits all sectors. The index evaluates 506 cities on 49 different criteria, and we are one of the few major cities in Florida and the country, for that matter, to receive a top score of 100, so that's something to be very proud of. I'll mention a couple of things that are on today's agenda. Item A1 and A3, we are awarding grant funds to, and that's why council chambers are so crowded. When you award grant funds, people tend to come out, right? But they are great community partners that are here today for community service and arts and cultural organizations that partner with our residents. They provide essential services programs and experiences. This year, due to a reduction in state funding, we are providing a one-time funding increase to the arts and cultural organizations that are in the city limits that were impacted by the state cuts. So if you are part of one of those organizations that are here today, and I think there's a bunch of you out there, if you would stand and be recognized, please. Okay, and also on our agenda today, item C19 is an item that plays an important role in defining and strengthening our neighborhood commercial corridors. We just had our Main Street Awards a couple of weeks ago, and today we're renewing the agreements with the existing 9 districts in Orlando, and we are excited to announce today that we will vote on approving funding for a 10th district, which is Curry Ford West, to the Main Street program. It will be our second Market Street along with Gateway Orlando. Market Streets are specifically designated as neighborhood commercial districts that aren't quite the same criteria as the Main Streets. On behalf of the city, I want to recognize Curry Ford West. Would everybody from the Curry Ford West Main Street please stand and be recognized? And how about everybody else that's involved in Main Streets be recognized as well? So Commissioner Gray, Commissioner Ortiz, and Commissioner Sheehan all share Curry Ford West. So why don't we go down and do a picture with those that are here. So Curry Ford West, come on up. Okay, we're going to move on to the consent agenda, and the consent agenda is a number of items that are acted upon through a single vote of council. We give each of our council members an opportunity to comment on items from the consent agenda and to also update you on important happenings from their district. We rotate the order that we do that, and Commissioner Hill is first up today.
Thank you, Mayor. Good afternoon. I'm quite excited to see, I think it's in our CRA that we're going to be giving a $40,000 grant to Popcorn Junkie. I think they've been in existence now going on about 2 years and have done a phenomenal job. They have also employed some of our PKZ students, so it's a great investment. Thank you, Walter and Thomas and your staff for all the work that you're doing over there in that Paramore area. I think, and I know in the last 4 years that we've given at least close to $1.5 million of grants out to small businesses there.
Commissioner, I was at the UCF game, not this week, but the week before, and Popcorn Junkie is a vendor at the UCF Stadium now.
UCF Stadium now.
How about that?
Also, F1, excited that we're going to give tax credit preference to Atlantic Housing for their Amelia Court project. It is underway. We know that throughout Central Florida there is a issue when it comes to affordable housing. And with this preference, they will be able to make sure that we have mixed income housing there in the Paramore area. I think this project will be completed in May of next year, just in time for that Invictus Housing, Paramore Oaks, that is also underway. So here in the near future, we will have quite a bit of affordable housing in the Paramore area. I know most times we talk about gentrification, but I think this city leads with revitalization and responsible growth and making sure that Paramore is a place for all people. And housing is one of our priorities. And thank you, Mayor and Council, for your support in the affordable housing market there in that District 5. There is a item that I'm not too pleased with, and that is C7 in our new business, to where we'll be giving a $40,000 grant to Florida Oranges LLC. They're at, I think it's 1212 Church Street, or 1010 Church Street. They do qualify for this grant. It's a subsidy for them renovating the property. But I do not think that we should reward those that are habitual offenders. And they went in and renovated this property without a permit. And they're business owners that know better. They're not a mom and pop business that don't know. I also have an issue with them being one of the owners, being an owner in Paramore that has left multifamily housing boarded up for at least the last 5 years. It's one thing to come in and create economic development, and I am supportive of economic development in Paramore, but I'm also in support of those being responsible stakeholders in Paramore. They have not once came to ask our housing department for funding to help us with the affordable housing piece. There that sits there in the Jernigan Street corner of Paramore are 2 to 3 apartment complexes that they have kept boarded up, Mayor. I don't think it's right for us to give funding to those that are only concerned about their self-interest. I'm not happy being about it. You see what goes on in Paramore. You know more affordable housing is needed. And I would hope that you send a strong message to your partner that we will not allow empty, vacant, multifamily housing to lie dormant and vacant for 6 and 7 years while you come and ask us for money to help with corporate businesses. I'm not in support of it. I will vote yes because it's the legal thing to do and it's policy. But if it wasn't policy, I would be voting no today. We owe Paramore more than just, and this venue really isn't something that contributes to the people of Paramore. There's no job opportunities there. Most of them can't afford to rent the space. I'm concerned that it was a church now that it will be selling, of course, with caterers, alcohol. What's next? We cannot start turning churches into storefronts and event halls in Paramore. I don't want to set a precedent towards this. That's all I have. I'm finished.
Thank you, Commissioner Harrell. We move to District 6, Commissioner Ings.
Thank you. Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Mayor. On Wednesday, September 19th, Representative Bruce Anton and myself sponsored or held a community town hall meeting in regards to the police supply store that's located on Goldwyn Avenue in District 6. Commissioner Hill was also present at that particular meeting. Lots of community input concerning that meeting. And then on Saturday, September 22nd, I attended the funeral services for Jessie Bell Ross. She is the late mother of Dooley Ross, who was a former city employee, worked in the Human Relations Department. He now works at Orange County government. And Ms. Ross is also the grandmother to Marcia Ross of our permitting department here in Orlando. So I wanted to express my condolences to the Ross family. Also on Wednesday, September 26th, I attended the International Drive Business Improvement District annual board meeting. That meeting was held at Orange County Administration Building. Myself, Commissioner Siplin, and Mayor Teresa Jacobs sit on this governing board. And that was the last meeting for Mayor Teresa Jacobs. And so we presented her with an award for her service being on that particular board. And then on Saturday, September 29th, I attended and presented a proclamation at the VIP Kid Edutainment Education Vacation event that was China's national holiday celebration. And this event was held at Disney's Coronado Springs Resort. Cindy Mee, the CEO of VIP Kid, welcomed 100 Chinese families and 400 VIP Kid North American teachers and 30 incentive families from VIP Kid to Orlando to spend an edutainment vacation day here in the city of Orlando. Now, VIP Kid is a program where American teachers actually through online or staying and visiting in Taiwan, in China, Beijing, China, actually teach English to the young kids there in China. So this is a big program. This online course allows students to learn English. The company has more than 4 million subscribers, and because of the company's growth, VIP Kid recently raised $500 million in funding and has been valued at $3 billion. And VIP Kid is now in 35 countries and has attracted several billionaire investments, including Alibaba Chief Executive Jack Ma and NBA legend Kobe Bryant. Claudia Mendez and Fernando Pereira of Pegasus Transportation here in Orlando were coordinators of this event and provided transportation through Disney, Universal Studios Resort, and SeaWorld for all of those that were visiting. And then on Tuesday, October 2nd, I attended the 35th Annual National Night Out at several different locations in District 6. The L. Claudia Allen Senior Center held its first National Night Out, and it was a huge success. They had a great and awesome turnout of residents and neighbors, specifically from the Johnson Village community, that attended that event. The L. Claudia Allen Center was also an honorable mention for the National Night Out theme contest, and their theme was "This Neighborhood is Our Priority." And they received a $100 check from Chief Mina and Chief Williams of the fire department. The last thing that I have here is that the City of Orlando at Orlando iDrive NASCAR on Sunday, October 7th from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. And NASCAR, iDrive NASCAR is located on North International Drive, was the voting location for the Brazilian presidential election that was held. Over 5,500 Brazilians, residents of Central Florida, are registered to vote. 3,500 Brazilians, residents, voted at iDrive NASCAR. The lines were long and outside of the doors. This marks the first time in the state of Florida that a voting location for Brazilians is available outside of the Brazilian consulate in Miami. It's also evidence of the growth of the Brazilian population in Central Florida and Brazil's continuous impact on tourism in Orlando and Central Florida. The presidential election caused a runoff. There were 13 candidates, so the runoff for the top 2 candidates will be held at iDrive NASCAR on October 28th. iDrive NASCAR is owned and operated by the AMP Group, which owns numerous businesses in the north end of International Drive, including Orlando Crossings Mall and Perfume Land. AMP Group has been a partner of the Brazilian General Consulate of Miami for over 3 years to provide itinerary consulate services to the Brazilian residents in Central Florida. Alejandro Pizzini, Chief Executive Officer, and Pablo Rosenberg are the owners of the AMP Group. And so that's all that I have, Mayor.
Thank you, Commissioner. We'll move to District 1. Commissioner Gray.
Thank you, Mayor. In an effort to get everybody back to work, I know you're dying to get back. I'll go right to the agenda. First of all, I'd like to acknowledge all of our funding partners that are here today. Thank you for what you do to continue to make Orlando a great place to live and work. The funding helps, but I know there's a lot of hard work and sweat that goes into this, so thank you all for what you do. Appreciate that very much. Mayor, thank you for agreeing to move item C3 to new business. We'll talk a little bit more about that later. Item C7, I am going to vote no. The applicant did talk to me. I appreciate the applicant taking the time to share their story, but I agree with Commissioner Hill. If folks, even though maybe it wasn't the owner's fault, I'm a property owner and I have responsibilities to know what my tenants do on my property. And so I don't know how we can continue to fund something when they blatantly violate a rule. So I'm a no on C7. C11, I'd like to thank and congratulate the folks at Lake Nona Animal Clinic who are getting a Business Assistance Program Award. I've said it here many times, I'll keep saying it, folks that invest their capital and their time in our city deserve our thanks, and so welcome to the neighborhood, Lake Nona Animal Clinic. And finally on C18, the mayor said it before, but congrats to the folks in all the main streets, but certainly welcome to Curry Ford West. Again, folks that take the effort and say, look, it's not what we want it to be, so we're going to get involved and make it what we want to be. We're here to help you. So congrats to folks in Curry Ford for saying, look, we're going to do something to make this a more vibrant retail neighborhood. So well done. Congrats. We're here to support you. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Commissioner. We'll move to District 2. Commissioner Ortiz.
Thank you, Mayor. I want to echo the words of Commissioner Gray and welcome Curry Ford West. I've been hanging out over there, and you guys got the right businesses going on. So welcome to the family. I also want to acknowledge we have our family members of the UCF Incubator and the NEC Mayor, if you don't mind, if they can stand up and be recognized, please. These are they're great contributors to our economy in so many ways, academically and economically. So I want to take the opportunity and also recognize Ms. Lisa Wilson, who worked so hard in our front desk. Her birthday was this past Saturday. She's not here with us. She's on her desk working. But I just want to say happy birthday, Lisa. Congratulations to the recipients of the Mayor Leadership Award. Well deserved. And going into business now, Monday, October 1st, marked the beginning of Breast Cancer Awareness Month. It's important to continue increasing awareness, not only for the females, for the males too. We all get it too. So let's continue creating awareness. Encouraging our friends and loved ones to get screened annually, as it could increase the chances of survival through early detection. On Tuesday, October 2nd, I was able to visit about 6 out of there were so many, I couldn't get to all of them, the National Night Out events. But it was good to see how everybody keeps getting more and more involved. That's what this is all about. It's about getting to know your neighbor, so you know who doesn't belong. Then you can go ahead and get the police involved. And when the police needs help, who they call? Oh, you haven't seen that video. They call SWAT, anyhow. But October 4th, we hosted transportation at our Dover Shores Community Center so they could meet with District 2 constituents about the City of Orlando Vision Zero Action Plan. During the meeting, they were able to discuss ways in which we can try to eliminate pedestrian and vehicle fatalities by the year 2040. That's a great effort. That's a great initiative, Mayor. Congratulations on this. The meeting was successful, and I'm thankful for our constituents who regularly show their support for our district, as well as our amazing City of Orlando Transportation Department, who continuously show their dedication to the safety of our city residents. Saturday 6th, I went to see the movie Shine. I don't know how many of you have seen it or have heard about it. Great movie, isn't it, Reggie? But what most people don't know is that the main actor is from right here, Orlando. He's one of our own. As a matter of fact, he's a brother of one of our employees at OUC, actually the son of one of our employees at OUC, and the brother also of one of our employees at OUC. Great movie, talks about gentrification, and made me realize how good we're doing in the City of Orlando, and I want to echo the words of Commissioner Hale, because we're doing revitalization, taking in consideration those who are there to keep them there, not to move them away. And that's what this is all about, and help the community move to the next level. What I ask is for people to continue getting involved, because those who feel that are outcasts or whatnot, they have a great opportunity in the City of Orlando to be part of the process. So it's a good movie. For those of you, the movie started a few days ago. It's called Shine, and they have it in about 600 different theaters around the nation. District 2 has a couple of events coming up I want to invite all of you to be part of. We're having our annual Fall Festival on Friday, October 26th from 6:30 p.m. to 8:30 at the Englewood Neighborhood Center. There'll be an array of things to do for the families, including bounce houses, raffle games, and more. Also, OUC will be hosting their Fall Into Savings event at Englewood Neighborhood Center on November 1st from 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. Constituents will be able to take a closer look at programs and incentives that will help them saving energy, water, and money. Be sure to check out advertisement on Facebook to learn how to RSVP. I wanted to, in terms of item C7, Commissioner Hill, I believe, and I'm going to have to request staff to correct me, if the approval of a facade money up to, I believe it's up to $5,000, or I don't know if it was up to $10,000, I think it's up to $5,000 is something that staff can do, but otherwise they have to come and check with the commissioners. Am I correct about this? That's the last I knew about this. So this was something that was supposed to be consulted with you, is my understanding. So anybody from staff that can help us with this? No takers?
Mayor, what's your question again, Commissioner?
Up to $5,000 when it comes to facade money being allocated to any particular business. we can, staff can decide up to $5,000 on doing this without coming and checking with the commissioner for that particular area. But otherwise, they have to come over and consult, because $50,000 used to be allocated for commissioners to allocate to business in their own districts. That's the way we used to do business, and I know that there were some changes years ago.
Commissioner, Mayor, and Commissioners, the Business Assistance Program, which offsets permit fees and impact fees, there's a $5,000 and below level on that the Economic Development Director has authorization to execute, but I don't believe that applies to facade.
Facade and site improvements.
So I believe facade and the site improvement program, which is a separate program, requires city council approval at all
This
levels.
comes to you, to the commission.
No, by all means, but before being approved, before coming to city council, it was my understanding, and it was for both, for the facade grant and also for the impact fees, that would have to come to the commissioner. That's the way I understood. That's why I voted for it years ago when we decided on doing some changes to allow staff to work on the first 5,000.
Okay. Are you referring to are you referring to a specific case?
No, I'm just in general. I'm talking in general. This was something that was going to be.
Okay. The program, the facade program that was established had a $50,000 amount that was assigned to each commission district. And as we went through the year, the plan was always that we would speak with each commissioner regarding applicants that were pending in your district. And in some cases, the district commissioner has made a decision they've had more applications than they've had dollars available. And so in those cases, yes, I know commissioners have participated in helping to allocate dollars, but I don't believe it required a specific approval prior to an application moving forward.
Mayor, if I may, Commissioner, we amended this program at the beginning of the year, and in it there was no requirement to come see you all prior to sending it before our Business Facade Committee, but if it's at your discretion, if you would like us to, that is something we would consider.
It was my understanding, and I know we have some changes with this $5,000 staff allocation, but I didn't know it had changed totally to the extent where staff could decide on what business on its totality.
We can, if you don't mind, we can come and see you after the council meeting and make sure that.
It's because I'm thinking about the case where Commissioner Hale is dealing with. So that's it.
Mayor, if I may, real quick though, we do have a facade committee that makes recommendations, but before that, we could come and see you. So that's something that we're happy to do. So.
I would prefer that because I found out about this at a briefing on Thursday.
Yes, ma'am.
And it just doesn't sit well with me.
I understand.
That's it. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Commissioner Stewart.
Can I have a microphone back?
Yes.
You're welcome. Thank you, Mayor. I've got a couple of things I want to share briefly with you. First of all, let me say thanks to Maria Montano's mom for being here today. What a wonderful addition. It's nice to, in Hispanic Month, to have a choice of different languages here to remind us of our diversity. So thank you very much, Mayor, for coordinating that. A couple of quick things I want to share. Thank you to UCF Incubator. Where are you there? Thank you very much. Love having you be part. It started in Tony's district and came to mine. Y'all didn't move, we did. Thank you very much. Orlando Science Center, thank y'all for the work, and the other arts groups that are here. It is unfortunate that we have to supplement state funding. And for those of us who are in the forefront of the upcoming election, just remember that we are subsidizing what the state has always paid, which I think is appropriate to do. So it's one of those small little political comments I'll make. National Night Out was last week. We had a great time. I think we had 16 or 17 parties in the district. I got to about 10 of them. That was wonderful. And we always have great parties, and I appreciate the work they did up at Rosemont, Lake Orlando, as well as Audubon Park, and all the ones that are in between. They just did a great job working very, very hard, and I appreciate that. A couple of quick other announcements. The Lou Gardens annual Jazz and Blues Stroll evening is this week on October 13th. Please come and enjoy that. The National Federation of the Blind is having their White Cane Day a week from today. If you hadn't had a chance to be involved in that, please take an opportunity to be involved in that. It reminds us of those who are visually impaired and the challenges they have to get around in the world that we live in. So please make sure you get a chance to get involved in that. It'll be over. We're going to be meeting over in front of Princeton Elementary next Monday. OUC is having a special public community fall into savings. It's a chance for them to share with our community all the things they can do to help save money for you on your energy bill and how they can be engaged. That's coming up on Tuesday, October 16th over at Edgewater High School. If you get a chance to come over, please come be part of that. And then the College Park Jazz Fest is November 3rd coming up, and I just had a chance, where was the rest of the crew? I just had a chance to go to the Zombie Toberfest. What a wonderful event. Thank you, Jennifer, for the work that you did. And it reminds me, on C-17 today, I'll get right to the agenda items. Special thanks to Jeff at College Park Main Street, Juliet at Ivanhoe Main Street, Jennifer at Audubon Park. We have a lot of J's in my Audubon Park Garden District, and Joanne in Mills 50. Thank you for the work that you do in our community to make it great. It was a wonderful 10th anniversary celebration. Mayor, thank you for taking the leadership of that. And between Pauline and the staff, thank you for your work. We have impacted our community by billions of dollars. And I'm so grateful for what y'all have done. It means a lot to us. F1 through 11, I want to just mention briefly that were some other community organizations through the Community Block Grant and the Emergency Services Grant. Those are some that help support the least of these in our community. And I'm so grateful for a chance to be able to help them with some of that money. And I want to mention one thing briefly. On C20, we had a chance to have our staff work with the Mills Park Group to create a temporary use permit for some additional parking over there. I appreciate that work with our staff. It is temporary. We hope to have that building developed, and as it gets developed, we'll move forward on it. But we do have a chance to be able to allow some parking over there, and that's going to take a little bit of relief off of some of the parking lot there and help our businesses. So I'm grateful for that. And that's all I have, Mayor.
Thank you, Commissioner, and we'll move to District 4, Commissioner Sheehan.
Thank you, Mayor. I don't know if I got, hello? Okay, all right. I am filing a conflict of interest, even though the city attorney said that I probably shouldn't need to, but out of abundance of caution, because I sell artwork at some of the businesses that are members of Main Street. I know it's kind of circuitous, but just out of abundance of caution, I would like to declare a conflict on item C18. Even though I donate all the murals, the Bad Kitty murals I do sell artwork at some of the different main streets, and they are promoted on the website. So I'm going to be declaring a conflict of interest on that. So I've done the appropriate paperwork to the city clerk. On the agenda today, we have item C8, 600 North Bumby. I'm really excited. That's the corner of Bumby and Concord. If y'all have seen that, that's probably one of the hot and messiest corners in my district. It's constantly become a problem for getting torn up and vandalized, and it's going to become a salon. So Kareen's here today, and I'm so delighted that we're finally moving forward on this corner in the Milk District and really put a beautiful salon there. And looking forward to see what happens with those buildings, because they actually are really cool postmodern buildings. And we're looking forward to see what you're doing with that. And that's actually a facade grant and business assistance for today. I am excited about the main streets today. Of course, all of you in my district, y'all do amazing jobs. And you help create a sense of identity. And I think probably most of the positive publicity the city has gotten over the past several years has been because of the work of the Main Street. So thanks to all of you. Even though I have to decline voting on you today, I certainly support you 1,000%. And Curry Ford West, wow, y'all have done amazing things already, and look forward to seeing what you can do to help the small businesses in your area. Also on housing today, we have many great community organizations like Urban League, iDignity, Harbor House, Primrose Center, to name a few in my district. But y'all do amazing work to help in the community. We're really glad to help support your initiatives. And also on item J2, the funding for Best Foot Forward. Pedestrian safety is so important. And we also, as a part of putting infrastructure, and we also have to do the educational piece, because it doesn't matter if there's a crosswalk there if people aren't paying attention to it. So thank you, Best Foot Forward, for the education that you're doing. But something that I've seen lately has been kind of frustrating is people think the pedestrians have the right of way and they've been crossing mid-block, and that's very dangerous. So make sure that we're also educating people that they do need to cross at crosswalks rather than starting out on the road, because that's very, very dangerous. And with that, I will move the consent agenda, Mayor.
Second. Motion by Commissioner Sheehan, second by Commissioner Stewart. All in favor of the motion indicate so by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed, motion carries. Okay, those of you who were just here for the consent agenda that want to second reading number 2. What one is that?
Mine doesn't work.
Turn yours on.
Okay, then let's recess without objection the City Council meeting and convene the CRA meeting. First item of business is meeting minutes from the CRA September 17th for approval. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Hill, second by Commissioner Sheehan. All in favor of the motion indicate so by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed, motion carries. All right, number 2, Thomas Popcorn Junkie.
All right, thank you, and good afternoon, Mayor and Commissioners. Item number 2 is amoeba funding agreement and security agreement for Popcorn Junkie LLC. I'll remind you that the Minority/Women Business Assistance Program was approved by the CRA in 2006 for to assist with small business retention and recruitment in the target area of Parramore with deferred loans of up to $40,000.
Can we turn that mic up?
For up to $40,000 to qualified new and existing retail and service businesses for purposes of retention, relocation, purchase of capital equipment, marketing, as well as startup expenses. Popcorn Junkie LLC is a gourmet popcorn business located just 2 blocks west of Amway Center at City View, 595 West Church Street. Business was incorporated in July of 2016. It's been at that location since March of 2017. The owners have extensive experience in the retail industry and pride themselves in, quote unquote, delivering handcrafted fresh quality gourmet popcorn and treats to the guests, end of quote. As was mentioned earlier, they've been recently approved for a contract to be a vendor at all the UCF football games, and we're happy about that. The applicant has requested amoeba funding grant for expansion costs, rental abatement, marketing costs, and capital equipment purchases totaling just over $38,000. The amoeba Advisory Board in the September 19th meeting has recommended approval, as has the CRA Advisory Board, and staff is before you today requesting approval of the amoeba funding agreement, continuing guarantee and security agreement between the CRA and Popcorn Junkie LLC, and authorization for the chairman and the executive director of the CRA to execute said agreement subject to the review and approval of the city attorney's office.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Hill, second by Commissioner Sheehan. Discussion. Hearing none, all in favor of the motion indicate so by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed, motion carries. Number 3, Thomas.
Thank you. Item number 3 is advisory committee ranking and authorization for the chief procurement officer to negotiate a contract for management and programming of downtown open space. A request for proposals on RFP was issued on June 25th of this year to select an entity to provide management, maintenance, and programming for downtown open space at the intersection of Orange and Robinson in the southwest quadrant, or now known as Orange and Robinson Park. There were 2 responsive proposals. An advisory committee evaluated and ranked those proposals. Number 1 ranking was given to Ascend Studios LLC of Orlando, And the number 2 ranking was the Aragon Agency, LLC, of Orlando. The CRA Advisory Board has recommended and staff is requesting approval of the ranking established by the Advisory Committee and approval and authorization for the Chief Procurement Officer to negotiate a contract with the top-ranked firm, SN Studios, LLC. And if negotiations are not successful with the top-ranked firm, then approval and authorization for the Chief Procurement Officer to negotiate with the remaining firm in ranked order.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Hill, second by Commissioner Sheehan. Discussion? Hearing none, all in favor of the motion indicate so by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed, motion carries. And number 4, Starter Studio.
Thank you. Number 4 is the Starter Studio funding agreement. Starter Studio Accelerator Program and nonprofit Evergreen Seed Funds are unique in that they're the only one of its type in Central Florida, and they provide and address a very critical and crucial gap when it comes to the retention and attraction of small business, particularly tech startups and the like. The DT Outlook, which is our redevelopment area plan, encourages the CRA's assistance in business recruitment and retention within such sectors as this and support of the growth of such through various means, including the providing of tools and resources to help the businesses flourish. With the funding contemplated by this agreement, Starting Studio would host 2 cohorts of up to 16 companies per year in its accelerator program and provide seed funding to its successful second stage seed accelerator participants from between $25,000 and $225,000 each in the form of convertible notes. The CRA Advisory Board has recommended and staff is requesting approval of the Starter Studio funding agreement, providing for $125,000 to Starter Studio for operations of its accelerator program and nonprofit seed, subject to the terms of the agreement, subject to review and approval of the City Attorney's Office, and authorize the Chair and the Executive Director to execute the funding agreement.
So moved. Second.
Motion by Commissioner Hill, second by Commissioner Sheehan. Discussion? Hearing none, all in favor of the motion indicate so by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed, motion carries. Thomas, for the business?
There's none. Thank you.
Then without objection, the CRA will stand adjourned. We will reconvene the City Council meeting. That brings us to new business. The only item we have on new business is item, what was it, C3, that we moved from the consent agenda, which we had a substantial discussion on during the course of the last meeting. Commissioner Gray and I endeavored to work with the Expressway Authority to see if we could get some form of access to the cell tower other than through the neighborhood easement. We were unsuccessful in that. I think we could get it on a temporary basis, but not for a continuing temporary basis. Right. So we're back to where we were. So Commissioner Gray.
And thank you and the staff and even the applicant tried to figure out a way we could get access through the expressways through CFX. It just wasn't possible. And so we're kind of back to where we were before. This is a conditional use permit application to build a tower and to maintain a cell tower. And the challenge is the access is through the middle of the subdivision. And again, Randall Park is a 10-plus-year-old subdivision. It's built out. It could be the largest cul-de-sac in the city of Orlando. Eventually, as the neighboring properties develop, there'll be other access points, but the building or the property owner has shown no desire to develop even in this economy. So we may be stuck with that for a while. So at the end of the day, I don't need to rehash. I'll be glad to if you'd like. But the reality is, in my view and those of my neighbors, it is just not compatible. And one of the conditions of a conditional use permit is compatibility. And again, my feeling has been if there was a need or a desire to do a cell tower, we could have done it before, but we've waited now to the end, and it's just not compatible to have construction vehicles now as well as maintenance vehicles in the future going through and adjacent to homes to service a cell tower. So I would ask my colleagues to support me in denying this request.
Commissioner Sheehan and Commissioner Stewart.
Well, we are called upon sometimes as commissioners to hear things, and sometimes we get everything we want, and sometimes we don't. The cell tower was approved by the Municipal Planning Board. There were community meetings, and the applicant did agree to move and change the height of the cell tower, and the access was in the PD, which the developers agreed to. So, you know, the difficulty that I have, and again, commissioners have not always supported me on something as simple as a sidewalk in my district. I can't very well turn around and then just completely ignore the code of the City of Orlando. There's a reason we have a land development code. There's a reason we have a planned development process. And applicants have to be treated fairly during that process. And I do not feel this applicant has been treated fairly during this process. And for that reason, I will be supporting the cell tower, because I feel that the applicant has done more than was necessary to try to work with the neighborhood to come to an agreement. So again, I don't think we should just be able to, as city commissioners, just arbitrarily change the code when someone has gone through the appropriate processes.
Mr. Stewart.
Thank you, Mayor. I had a chance to talk a little bit with Kyle. Kyle, to give us a little bit of your, what can we legally do on this issue? I think the question was, one suggestion from Commissioner Gray was to move it across the highway. That seems to be common sense, but I'm not sure that we have the legal ability to do that. And the second is that, from my understanding, unfortunately, this cell tower location was approved when Randall Park was developed. So now the question is, it gets built 10 years later. I'm not sure that we have a chance to come back and rehash that. So give me the legal side of that, if you don't mind.
Sure, Mayor, and this is a tough one. And just to clarify one thing, when the PD was adopted a number of years ago, the PD identified this location as prospectively an okay one for a cell tower, but it also said that the applicant would have to come back and receive a conditional use permit. So while it was identified in the PD, it didn't get final approval in that PD. As you all know, and we've struggled with cell towers before in front of this council, local government land use decisions on cell towers is constrained and limited by both federal and state law. So there is a federal law called the Telecommunications Act of 1997 that constrains local government zoning authority over cell towers. And the reason for that is that the federal government has identified information technology infrastructure as a priority for our national economy, and therefore has put some limits on the thousands of local governments that have jurisdiction over cell towers. So there's a few things that you may not consider when deciding whether to approve or deny a cell tower. One of them, which has not come up in this context at all, but I just say it to remind you, is that the purported health impacts of the electromagnetic field that is created by a cell tower, that is regulated by the federal government. So it's not something that local governments can base an approval or denial on. The other thing, and this gets to what Commissioner Stewart just alluded to here, is that local governments cannot make a denial or approval based on the local government's assessment of adequate cell phone coverage. And the federal government there has just said, hey, look, local governments are not in the best position to decide what is adequate coverage, what is, where should cell towers go to get the best coverage possible. So what we can't do is make a decision of denial based on the fact that there is adequate coverage already in that area. That is up for the FCC and the telecommunications industry to decide. The other thing that you can't consider is just that it's unpopular, that your neighbors don't want it. If you seek to deny, if you decide to deny a cell tower, you have to do it based on the objective criteria that you've laid out in your zoning code. So Commissioner Gray has pointed out here that this particular cell tower requires a conditional use permit, which is a legal requirement that we can impose on a cell tower. So you have to go to the standards of review for a conditional use permit, and one of them, as Commissioner Gray pointed out, is compatibility. So one of the other things that you have to do is, if you decide that this cell tower is not compatible with the surrounding neighborhood, this board has to articulate that on the record. What is it about this tower that is not compatible? Is it the tower itself? Is it the access, the ingress and egress next to the single family homes? What is it? If you do vote to deny, we, the staff, will have to put that denial in writing as well, but that's something, of course, that we can handle for you afterwards.
Explain to me one more time the adequate coverage. So the idea is that we could not compel them to move it to another location based upon coverage. The owner could choose to move it and say that that is adequate coverage, but we're not allowed to say, hey, you can get just as good a coverage across the highway.
You got it. So you could make a zoning decision based on compatibility that says, maybe some other place down the road or whatever is a better, more compatible location. But what you couldn't do is make the decision that it needs to move down the road because it could still get adequate coverage or it would get better coverage. That's for the telecom business to decide, not the local government.
Well, I'm torn because I agree with Commissioner Gray that there are some better ways that this could have been handled. The idea of having that being built early would help have solved this growth in that area. But I'm also torn with the fact that we kind of did approve it. I know there's at Baldwin Park, there were several of those similar issues that when we began to start working on the development of the PD, that there are some things that are already in the PD. Many of those that were that had bought into the property didn't like that and now wanted to change it, and we were stuck with the fact that we had anticipated some of those things early on. So I'm going to probably reluctantly support the cell phone tower at its location, but I certainly think that it raises us to a position of these come back and they bite us 10 or 12 years later. And I'm uncomfortable trying to approve anything that could come back and bite this council. When 10 or 12 years from now, we may not be here and we're going to have to articulate that in a way that is clear and understanding. So I do appreciate Commissioner Gray and what you're trying to accomplish.
Go
ahead, Commissioner.
I want to say something, but my assistant doesn't.
Oh, yeah, okay. That wasn't purposeful, by the way.
Thank you, Mayor. I just want to remind my peers that one of the main reasons we're here is to ascertain and make sure that our constituents have quality of life. I think that's the number one purpose. And if this tower disturbs that quality of life, I think we need to think deep and hard about this. So I'm going to support Commissioner Gray on this particular decision. Thank you.
Commissioner Gray, I appreciate you advocating for the neighborhood, but I'm going to have to support the staff and the MPP recommendation. This was contemplated at the time the PD was originally done, and I feel like we've done what we can do to try to make the situation a little bit better by working with the Expressway Authority, but it's my understanding there's not an objection to the cell tower itself at this point, that the cell tower developer has compromised and lowered the height and that type of stuff. But one of the things that comes to mind to me is nobody appealed this MPP decision. It came straight to council, and there is a process that if people were objecting to this, they could have appealed the MPP decision. So that's kind of fundamental to me, that the process we have in place for somebody to object to a decision made by one of our boards was not followed, right?
If I could have the last word before we vote? I mean,
we don't actually have a motion, so
okay.
Why don't I take, just so we have one out there, I'll take Commissioner Sheehan's statement as a motion for approval.
I'll move to approve the cell tower.
Second by Commissioner Ing, so that way we at least know which way people are going.
Look, I've always supported the vote of this council, even though I'm oftentimes in the minority, but compatibility, I don't know how you look neighbors in the eye, and there's 20 to 25, and I can document them, that are charged a premium of $15,000 to $25,000 by the builder for a conservation view. And then we turn around as a council and say, yeah, but it's okay to not only build the tower, but to drive through our neighborhood to service that tower. That's not compatibility. And I would submit to you that nobody here pulls out the PUD before they buy a house. They use common sense. And so, yes, I get it, folks, but we've done a lot to the Randall Park neighborhood through a school, Sunblaze, that's now overcrowded, and there's 2 lanes, and we have people stopped up, and transportation's helping us with that. We built 600 apartment units out in front, so that's clogged it up. So look, it's not the cell towers, folks, issue, I get it. But if we want to continue to have good housing and charge the taxes we do, folks, we gotta understand that if people are paying a lot for a home, they have certain expectations. And if we don't want to fulfill those expectations, then they're going to go to other places because they don't feel like their investment's protected. And again, if it was just the PD, I'd say it, but when a builder charges conservation views, not the cell tower people, so I give them credit, but when you charge people views for conservation, and then they have to look at maintenance crews going in and out, that doesn't seem compatible to me. So I'll rest.
Turns out I wasn't giving you the final comment. If you want to come back, Commissioner Stewart, Commissioner Hill still want to say something, so I'll let you finish if you need to. Commissioner Stewart?
No, I'm fine. I think
okay, Commissioner Hill?
No,
okay.
I was just going to say that I'm going to support Commissioner Gray because, of course, I am someone that believes in the voice of the people. And if the residents have asked their commissioner to advocate in their behalf and to be their voices, I do believe that it's not compatible. There's no egress, and I will be supporting Commissioner Gray on this vote as a no.
Okay, let's give it a shot. All in favor of the motion indicate so by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed?
No.
Okay, I got it 4-3 passing. Okay. You're probably okay with that, right?
Antonia John, 800 Turpin Woods Boulevard. Yes, Mayor, I am.
Okay. Okay, that puts us back on the regular agenda. So we are on hearings ordinances, second reading number 1. Madam Clerk.
Ordinance number 2018-51, an ordinance of the City Council of the City of Orlando, Florida, annexing to the corporate limits of the city certain land generally located south of Rayburn Street, east of Boggy Creek Road, and north of Tradeport Drive, and comprised of 9.5 acres of land, more or less, and amending the city's boundary description. Amending the city's adopted growth management plan to designate the property as industrial and industrial resource protection on the city's official future land use maps. Designating the property as the planned development zoning district within the Air Commerce Park plan development on the city's official zoning maps. Amending the Air Commerce Park plan development to include the property in the legal description and the development plan, providing for amendment of the city's official future land use and zoning maps, providing for severability, correction of Scrivener's errors, permit disclaimer, and effective date.
Move to adopt.
Motion by Commissioner Gray, second by Commissioner Ortiz. Is there anyone from the public that would like to testify on this matter? Discussion among commissioners. Hearing none, all in favor of the motion indicate so by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed, so the motion carries. Number 2, Madam Clerk.
Ordinance 2018-55, an ordinance of the City of Orlando, Florida, amending Chapter 21 of the Code of the City of Orlando entitled Elections by amending Section 21.07-1, providing procedural requirements for alternative method for qualifying fee, signature verification, state election assessments by amending Section 21.09, providing a definition of election board, by amending Section 21.15, adding voter to the title, by amending 21.18, modifying absentee voting to vote by mail, by amending Section 21.22, providing petition procedural requirements, adding Section 21.24, providing for electronic filing of campaign finance reports and penalties, amending Chapter 2 of the City Charter entitled Administration by amending Section 14, providing procedural requirements for initiative ordinances, by amending Section 15, providing procedural requirements for referendum, legislative findings, and for severability, codification, correction of Scrivener's errors, and an effective date.
Move to adopt.
Motion by Commissioner Ing, second by Commissioner Stewart. Is there anyone from the public like to testify? I do have 2 appearance request card. Ali Ahmed, who is going to yield his time to LaWanna Gelzer. He has a job interview at 3, so it is past 3 o'clock. And LaWanna Gelzer. LaWanna Gelzer. All right, so that means you have 2 5 minutes. That's a total of 10. Madam Clerk, if you would put 10 on the timer.
Point of clarification, Mayor Dyer. On September 17th, you talked about the canvassing board also. I didn't hear her mention that. I didn't.
I quite honestly wasn't listening to
I'm
the
sorry.
clerk read the title. However,
the makeup of the canvassing board.
The makeup of the canvassing board is part of this, and it has reverted back to the original way.
Okay.
So clerk, 2 city commissioners, city commissioner as an alternative, and if we can't fill the board from sitting city commissioners, then the canvassing board, whoever is on the canvassing board, would make a recommendation to council on how to fill the remaining spot.
Okay, thank you, Mayor Dyer. Lawana Gelzer, 7674 St. Stephen's Court, Orlando, Florida. You know, I came before you on September 17th in this matter because I was very concerned about the election process and the changes. But when I left, I went back to May 4th, 2015. That's when the city council changed the elections from April to November, moving them back, moving them forward. We had a discussion. It was quite pleasant to see myself on video, but the way I was treated made me wonder what was going on. And I was approached by several police officers. You actually had to get up. You tried to change the process and saying that I didn't have 15 minutes, I only had 5 minutes, but you lumped 3 ordinances together, and I was very concerned about my treatment. So on September 17th, I came before you to talk about the election process. And I said, if you were going to line up with the state, let's be honest and tell what is going on. When it comes to the petitions, gathering of a petition, the alternative method, everywhere else in the state of Florida, if you file your intent to run for public office, you can start collecting petitions at that point. Once you filed your intent, the city has now changed it from 60 days to 100 days. So you're not lining up, you're still restricting. Then I also brought up about the canvassing board. And I had made the suggestion back on May 4th, 2015, that the city of Orlando is the only city in the state of Florida that conducts its own election using the city clerk. And the only thing that the supervisor of election does is count the ballots. They do not do anything else. And so I brought up Tampa, of the same size. I have previous complaints that I filed with the state attorney, even with the governor. I know what violations that have been filed, that we filed with the city when it comes to this election process. And Mayor Dyer, at this point, I'm like, why can't we have an independent canvassing board? Why can't we have an independent canvassing board, just like everybody else? So once again, we have a city clerk who's appointed by you, which I have a question. It's not that, it's the transparency. It's like, why a city of this size must run its elections this way? I said I had no problem with you changing to the electronic for the treasury reports. I didn't have a problem with it. I think you should do that. That'd be great. But what I have noticed over the years coming before city council is the disrespect I've received from you and other council members. It's an abuse of power. There's policies within the Florida state statute. At this point, I have no alternative but to file against you. Because when you send an officer towards me because I speak and you want to correct me, you interrupt me, that is not fair. It's called public comment. I'm coming before. You might say it's incorrect information. You're entitled to that. But if you're going to correct me, I should be given the opportunity to say, well, I have this ordinance here. I have this statute here. I have this. It should be going back and forth. But I seem to notice that happens a lot with me when I come before city council. But when you utilize OPD officers, and I had to tell the last 2 officers, please do not put your hands on me. Because if you do, this time I will be filing assault and battery charges against you. Because I have not broken any laws. So there's no reason why they should be touching me. To me, that is what I consider political bullying. And I need it to stop when I come before city council, because it will not stop me from coming. I will continue to come. It will not intimidate me. So I'm asking you, based on something you signed April 20th, 2005, a pretrial diversion, maybe with all that's going on when it comes to the City of Orlando elections, like I stated before, when it comes to absentee ballot gathering, harvesting of ballots, we've had people on tape, video, picking up ballots. We turned that information over to the city clerk, deaf ears. We have done everything we possibly can do. So I'm asking you, if you're going to make these changes, truly line up with the state when it comes to gathering petitions. Once you file your intent, go right ahead and start collecting them. I have no problem with, once again, I've stated, with the Treasury reports being electronically filed. But I would hope that you will look at getting an independent canvassing board and not the commissioners who are not running for office at that particular time. Because in past, we've had to file complaints when other commissioners have gotten involved in other one's campaign, and then they had to be removed. So maybe you should do what everybody else do. Just get an independent group and line up with the rest of the state. But in closing, Mayor Dyer, I will not be intimidated. I will continue to come by. I will continue to fight for the voiceless. I will not be political bully, but we have to stop doing that, and I hope that you will understand by now, after all these years, it's not working for me. And today I brought, for those who did not understand how much information we've gathered on the election, even the case that we filed with you in 2004, every deposition, everything possible, all the facts, requesting absentee ballots from one person who's been hired by several commissioners to collect absentee ballots. I just brought some of the data that I've kept. But see, you had that case sealed. I still have the hard copies and in cloud. And what I'm saying is there's a pattern here. And the pattern needs to stop. But ultimately, the political bullying needs to stop and the abuse of power needs to stop. Mayor Dyer, thank you and have a wonderful day.
Thank you for your testimony. That's all the cards that I have for this. Is there discussion among commissioners?
Mayor.
Commissioner Ings.
Yeah, I'd just like to ask Natasha to come and explain about the petition piece, because I understand that has changed towards state law. And so when before we had petitions, and that was the alternative method for if you couldn't afford to qualify. So,
Natasha.
Good afternoon, Mayor and Commissioners. We did make that change as you request, Commissioner. Now the language does not require any statement of undue burden on your resources, on your personal resources. We took that language out, and it's just now an alternative to qualifying for the election for the candidate.
Thank you.
Now, I do want to clarify, there is still some of that language in there, and that tracks exactly with the state law. So where it is required by state law, we have it in there, but there is no additional requirement by the city ordinance.
Further discussion or questions? Hearing none, all in favor of the motion indicate so by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed, so the motion carries. Number 3, Madam Clerk.
Ordinance number 2018-56, an ordinance of the City Council of the City of Orlando, Florida, relating to bicycling and skateboarding, substantially amending Chapter 10, Orlando City Code, entitled Bicycles and Bike Paths, to allow bicycle sharing services and to delete provisions redundant of state law, amending City Code to allow skateboarding for transportation purposes in certain parks, public right-of-ways, including sidewalks requiring helmets for skateboarders under 16 years of age, providing legislative findings, definitions, penalties, and for severability, codification, correction of Scrivener's errors, and an effective date.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Stewart, second by Commissioner Sheehan. Is there anyone from the public who'd like to testify? Discussion among commissioners. Hearing none, all in favor of the motion indicate so by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed, motion carries. All right, ordinances on first reading. Number 1.
Ordinance number 2018-53, an ordinance of the City of Orlando, Florida, amending the Planned Development Zoning District regulations for the Lake Nona Planned Development, generally located north of the Orange Osceola County line south of Dowden's Road, east of Boggy Creek Road, and west of Narcoossee Road, and comprised of 6,969 acres, more or less, amending the planned development district's development standards and the conditions of development, directing amendment of the official zoning map series, providing for severability, correction of Scrivener's error, permit disclaimer, and an effective date.
Move to approve.
Motion by Commissioner Gray, second by Commissioner Stewart. Is there anyone from the public like to testify on this matter? Discussion among commissioners. Hearing none, all in favor of the motion indicate so by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed, motion carries. Number 2.
Ordinance number 2018-57, an ordinance of the City Council of the City of Orlando, Florida, amending the city's adopted growth management plan by updating figure CI-14 to be entitled City of Orlando 2018-2023 Capital Improvement Element Capital Improvements Fund Schedule, amending policy 2.2.30 in the Capital Improvements element, providing for severability, correction of Scrivener's error, and an effective date.
Move to approve.
Motion by Commissioner Ings, second by Commissioner Hill. Is there anyone from the public like to testify on this matter? Discussion among commissioners. Hearing none, all in favor of the motion indicate so by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed, motion carries. Number 3, Madam Clerk.
Ordinance number 2018-58, an ordinance of the City Council of the City of Orlando, Florida, rezoning certain land generally located south of East Colonial Drive, west of North Fern Creek Avenue, north of Hillcrest Street, and east of Shine Avenue, and comprised of .61 acres of land, more or less, from MU2T high-intensity mixed-use corridor with a traditional city overlay district to planned development with a traditional city overlay district, providing a site plan and special land development regulations of the planned development district, providing for severability, correction of Scrivener's error, permit disclaimer, and an effective date.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Sheehan, second by Commissioner Stewart. Is there anyone from the public like to testify on this matter? Discussion among commissioners. Hearing none, all in favor of the motion indicate so by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed, motion carries. Okay, number 4.
Ordinance 2018-59, an ordinance of the City Council of the City of Orlando, Florida, relating to the regional public facility designation and signage, approving an amendment to the sign plan for the Amway Center pursuant to Section 64-320 Orlando City Code, providing for conflicts, penalties, severability, correction of Scrivener's error, permit disclaimer, and an effective date.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Hill, second by Commissioner Ings. Is there anyone from the public who would like to testify on this matter? Discussion among commissioners. Hearing none, all in favor of the motion indicate so by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed, motion carries. And number 5.
Ordinance number 2018-60, an ordinance of the City of Orlando granting WCA of Florida, LLC, a non-exclusive franchise to provide roll-off container collection and disposal of solid waste within the City of Orlando, outlining franchisees' duties and providing the term and condition under which such franchise shall operate, providing for severability and an effective date.
So moved.
Motion by Commissioner Hill, second by Commissioner Stewart, I guess it was. Is there anyone from the public like to testify on a roll-off container? Discussion among commissioners. Hearing none, all in favor of the motion indicate so by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed, motion carries. And number 6.
Ordinance number 2018-61, an ordinance of the City Council of the City of Orlando, Florida, amending the Orlando Health Plan Development Zoning Ordinance to add approximately 5.8 acres of land to the Plan Development Zoning District, such land being generally located north of West Pennsylvania Street, east of Atlanta Ave, south of Columbia Street, and west of South Orange Ave, providing a conforming legal description, PD planning area map, and PD land use plan, providing for severability, correction of Scrivener's error, and an effective date.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Sheehan, second by Commissioner Stewart. Is there anyone from the public that would like to testify on this matter? Discussion among commissioners. Hearing none, all in favor of the motion indicate so by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed, and so the motion carries. And before we conclude the agenda business of the city, Commissioner Stewart reminded me that our thoughts and prayers are with those who are in the path of Hurricane Michael. I know that both police and fire are on standby if they are needed in the Panhandle, as well as power folks from OUC, which will in all likelihood be deployed. So keep them in your thoughts and prayers. With that, that concludes the official business, and we will come to general appearance.